Welcome back to Ozarks Tonight. The holidays can already be hard on people battling addiction. Add on isolation during the pandemic, and the risk of relapsing is even higher. Dr. Drew Shoemaker with Burrow Behavioral Health joins us to give advice on staying sober during the holidays. Dr. Shoemaker, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So the pandemic has already been hard for people battling addiction. Are we expecting more substance abuse during the holidays this year than previous years?
I really think that we are. Historically, we've seen significantly elevated problems with substance abuse as well as with overdoses in the winter months. They did some research at a university and found that once the temperatures get below freezing, that the actual overdose rate goes up to about 25%. We don't know if that's because of the cold weather, if that's because of the shorter days. It's kind of hard to tell, but I do expect that it's going to be a bigger problem this year, especially when you add the isolation that COVID has brought upon us.
So as I mentioned, the holidays can already be stressful for people. What are some tips for people to stay sober during the holidays?
You know, I think if there's one thing that I would recommend, it's staying in community with the people that support you. Recovery is one of those things that's best not done alone. And so staying plugged in with those people is one of the most important things that you can do. That's available through a lot of venues, AA and NA, your church family, your actual family. There's a lot of good options out there for support, and I think that getting plugged in with those relationships is really important. Another important thing is exercise. If you could put in a pill what exercise does for us, you'd have a blockbuster there. It helps with managing stress. It helps us sleep better. So many things are better when you get some exercise. And it doesn't have to be joining a gym and doing a 3-hour workout every day. You know, it can be something as simple as just walking a few times around the block. You know, I think that makes a big difference. So
it's definitely some good tips there. What are some specific triggers for relapsing?
I think that some of the triggers that happen I don't think that they surprise people in recovery. One of the things that happens with recovery is very seldom does someone just suddenly relapse and they're surprised by it. They have made a decision to put themselves in a position to be with people with whom relapse is more likely to happen, or to put themselves in situations where relapse is more likely to happen. And I think that once they grant themselves that permission, I think that can be a significant trigger to cause relapse. Another thing that we see is that the anniversaries of significant loss of others, loss of family members, or significant past trauma can also be a significant trigger.
Absolutely. So, people who choose to be around their families during the holidays, they may be around alcohol at family events. What are some tips for them?
I think that it varies for every person. I think especially for those people who are early in their sobriety, if they will be honest with themselves and evaluate that circumstance and see if there is a very high likelihood that they're going to relapse in that setting, there may be some events that they have to make a decision to miss. I think as people get more sobriety behind them, I think that no longer becomes necessary. But I think that early in sobriety, they have to be, very careful about that. Another thing is, let your family members know that this is an issue for you. And I think that most people will be surprised that people that love them really want to support them in their sobriety.
Yes, and you mentioned people that are newly sober. There may be some anxiety about being around family for people who've recently gotten sober because they feel they haven't been forgiven for past mistakes. What are some tips for overcoming that anxiety?
Well, I think that, one of the best things that you can do is to show up and be sober. And then over the course of time, be where you say you're going to be, do what you say you're going to do. You can't really demand that people immediately trust you again or forgive you. But at the same time, the longer that you are where you say you're going to be, doing what you say that you're going to be doing, I think you'll be surprised how quickly that trust comes back. it's all about restoring relationships, and the people that love you want to have that relationship restored. And I think that those are important things to keep in mind.
Dr. Shoemaker, where can people go for more information on services that Burl offers?
There's a lot of ways that you can reach us if you have any questions. You can always call Burl directly, which is the phone number for the main switchboard is 417-761-5000. If you need to talk to someone and figure out what the best direction for you to go is, you can always call our crisis line. That number is 800-494-7355. And then also, since June of this year, we've also had the Rapid Access Unit, which is at 800 South Park. That's a walk-in facility. It's available for people who are in mental health crisis or having struggles with addiction, where they can come in and get immediate help. They can get help that day, and then we can help refer them to the services that they need to deal with the crisis that they're facing.
There's a lot of resources available. Dr. Shoemaker, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
We'll have more Ozarks Tonight coming up after the break.